Beautiful friends, beautiful Palo Santo. May we praise in the glory of our highest divine. Welcome, Satnam, Ola. I am so happy to be here with you once again today. So much going on, so much to discuss, especially being I wasn't able to discuss it with you last week. And when I was able, I'm sorry, this is smoking you out. When I was able to, I did post two videos that you may have missed. One of them being the July predictions, and then the other being the 777 Ascension that we stepped in on July 7th. I have more to talk about with the 7-7 because it comes in three phases. We're going to discuss that today. Also, if you did miss me here, then you hopefully didn't miss me on Rumble. So make sure you check me out there as well. I hope you're all having a beautiful day today so far. I'm coming at you from Sedona, Arizona at 12:46 p.m. on Tuesday, July 11th. And so much has been happening, so much going on. Everything from cocaine in the White House, Ben and Jerry's ice cream. We know who loves ice cream, right? I love ice cream personally. More controversy for the Disney Corporation, all the way to malaria in Florida. Predicted a couple years ago, if you remember. Malaria in Florida and how it could actually be connected to Billy G, of course. And, opening up those gates to HE double toothpick. So we're going to talk about that along with Madonna, unfortunately, only because I warned her back in January that she would be on my list of people having severe health issues and maybe even death or passing. And Madonna definitely seriously had a health issue that almost took her out of this lifetime. Not only that, did she almost died, but there's still potential for this possibility happening before the year comes to an end. So, Madonna, you should probably book a reading with me because there's more on this today and other celebrity health news. I warned of coming shortages, and on my list of shortages that were coming were peppers and hot sauce, tequila, lots of things that we're going into severe shortages of. And that's exactly what's happening when it comes to peppers and hot sauce right now. Some bottles of hot sauce are going for $140 a bottle on certain sites like Amazon. I thought that was interesting. I just found out about that today. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about other shortages along with a warning that came from Spirit about tainted food and food poisoning. Something you are not going to want to miss. It's important, very, very important, especially if you eat out at places, especially the ones that serve up food fast, if you know what I mean. I discussed and predicted accidents in this accident-prone energy and accidents and incidents that we continue to witness around transportation and plane crashes, including I saw a vision of a plane coming short on a runway and crashing near an airport. Sadly, this is exactly what just happened, claiming 6 lives out in California. Is there still more to come in the way of transportation incidents and accidents? The top movie putting out Indiana Jones for good. Indiana Jones and the Death of Indiana Jones and the companies that produce it. As predicted, Africa is splitting in half. I'm going to show you the evidence about that today. And a UPS and Amazon strike, is that imminent? Is that going to happen before we hit the month of August? It's probably likely so. Interesting information that I have about what happens to you or to people, many people, upon death. Interesting article on that I'm going to share with you today on this episode number 73 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time. And I'm no tea today. I totally forgot to make tea, but that's okay. I forgot my water. Oh, my water's over there. I welcome you all to my channel, back to my channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, and I welcome you with infinite love and gratitude. I'd like to take this moment to thank all the supporters through the Chat Cash, PayPal, and members of this community below and the Subscribe Star community for making this free content possible for all of you that are watching currently. So really, really big thanks to all those that also click the like button. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, then you found the perfect tribe. Smash that subscribe. Down below, you'll find a link to my newsletter, which is also going to be really important because if anything happens or if you want to know where I'm at or what I'm doing or any videos that you may have missed, they're always put out in the newsletter a couple times per month. It's free, so check it out. Open it up down below and click to the top and sign up for free. Make sure that you confirm your email address and your subscription. Once you subscribe, you will get an email to confirm. If you don't confirm, then you don't end up on the list. So let's start out with some cocaine in the White House, babies. But first, have you all been feeling a little emotional the past weekend? Welcome to the 7-7 Ascension, Phase 1. There's 3 phases to this, and Phase 2 is going to come on July 16th, finalizing the process on July 25th. So basically, that gateway opened up on the 7th. And then surges of energy or waves of energy are going to come out on the 16th and on the 25th. All affecting our energy, our mobility. For some people, you didn't want to do anything, but then there was also a big burst in the energy that came in probably around yesterday, especially today. So you should feel a little bit more motivated and all, but remember, go back to that 777 event Ascension video so that you can utilize this energy, understand it, take advantage of it, and ascend with it, instead of resisting it and then getting nothing out of it, when this is a very magical time and you're not going to have a time like this again for at least 9 years. And if 9 years from now, if we're even lucky to experience it. So just an FYI, if you're aware and you're feeling emotional, be sure to check out that video. Also, we have a few months before things get completely chaotic globally. Without a doubt, both chaotic when it comes to global events, political events, and even related to weather and climate. So therefore, I tell you, my friends, to please get outside, enjoy the season, celebrate your life before we're all locked down like cattle and sheep once again by 2025. So who was it that was really responsible for bringing an illegal drug into the White House? Who was that less than smart person to leave it behind? Because that's what happens to cokeheads. They're just so like they forget that they're just all over the place. They're not grounded. That's the good word. That actual drug pulls your roots out of the ground, and then you're all over the place. It's the opposite of something that's grounding, like meditation, for example. Opposite of that. So who was less than smart to leave it behind? Well, I think we all know that it's a big party favorite of Baby B. We also know he prefers the rock form, of course, much better. But interesting enough, the whole thing's pretty funny if you think about it. You can't help but to laugh. And here's an article from Epic Times. It says, Secret Service, cocaine found in White House, possibly dropped by authorized personnel. We know who dropped it. The U.S. Secret Service has stated that the substance found in the White House on July 3rd identified to be cocaine that may have been brought in by someone who works there, or their daddy runs the place, one or the other, or had authorization to be there. Now, first and foremost, we know that that is the most secure place on the planet. You are not even getting near that place without them using their face recognition systems that they initiated with the CIA a decade ago. That's what the whole Facebook thing is, the CIA face recognition system. When you tag your friends, it tags you as being connected and related and so forth. And they have a whole computer index of that sits on a 5-acre lot, I think in Rhode Island, I think it is. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Rhode Island. So they know everything that goes in and out and everything that's said. And I bet you they even have secret cameras in their bathrooms. I bet you. Not in the stalls, of course, but I bet you their bathrooms even have cameras in them behind the mirrors. No doubt about it. That place is so secure. We are going to do our best to identify who may have brought it in. You already know, please. Hello. Regardless, even if it wasn't Baby B, obviously it's somebody within that big tight-knit circle, or otherwise we would have found out the day it was dropped, or we would have found out because they would have arrested the person and then broke the story out to the media. But no, they broke the story out beforehand, which is kind of really interesting. All this as if that party favorite isn't a party favorite of the elite. We know that is a party favorite of the elite who has been brought into the White House before, like not as if this has never been brought into the White House before, please, especially during the Bill Clinton administration. And when he was in the White House, they were using that as one of their top party favors. So we know exactly who brought it in based on them being caught in their own lies. And if you're not aware, they said that, Baby B was not in the house at the time, that he wasn't there. I think it was on Thursday. And then that was proven to be fiction afterwards when they saw him. So to me, if they're covering it up for that one person saying, no, they weren't there, it couldn't be theirs, and we find out they were there, then not only do we know they lied that they weren't there, but they must be lying as to who it belongs to. Right? Must be. They probably gave it back to him. Told him, probably gave him a little thing, keep it in this. Anyway, as if the Secret Service and, like I said, their face recognition systems don't have any clue who it is. I call BS. That's what I call. As if, like, the whole thing, as if no one knows. Like, at least a third of the people in the White House probably powder their noses in the bathroom, if you know what I mean. So much more is to come when it comes to the fall of JB and the family. Remember, it goes back to many of my past predictions. Some of my predictions go back a couple years ago, saying that he would never make it through the full term of the presidency. And he's not going to make it through the full term of 2023 either. So eventually, they're actually going to throw Baby B under the bus. Like, this is like one of those last things, like, no, like, not again. Another thing. First the laptop, then this, and then that, and then something else. They're going to throw him under the bus eventually. Basically, to cover up their own stuff, which Spirit shows me is going to backfire in their face. Like a pistol backfires in the Wild Wild West. Right in the face. And that's what Spirit showed me today. Let's move on to something else. Planes, trains, automobiles, and cruise ships, of course, because as you probably are aware, if you watch me long enough, that I have been warning about this accident-prone energy for a little while now, that I do believe we are going to get through it or come out of it by the end of this season. I forget when it is. It's an astrological thing, and an energy thing, both. I'm pretty sure it comes to an end sometime in August, actually. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it does. So Spirit warned me that we were going to see, due to this energy, a more than normal amount of accidents and incidents around trains, planes, automobiles, boats, ships, and even amusement parks. I just saw an article, I don't have it here today, excuse me, about people, I think it was in California, they were stuck upside down on a roller coaster. Had to be rescued. And somebody else, a couple of you sent me some articles about amusement park stuff. And all this information that I've been warning about and accident prone and all that is so far proved to be very accurate. I had a vision in my visions of a plane coming down short of a runway, an airport runway. And sadly, this just occurred in California when 6 people, unfortunately, didn't make it through this crash of a plane that basically all 6 people aboard the twin engine plane were killed in this crash amid poor visibility while trying to land in Southern California airport early Saturday morning, officials said, sparking a small brush fire in the process. Sad. The Riverside County Fire Department tweeted that the plane came down in a field and became fully engulfed in fire. The blaze burned approximately 1 acre of vegetation and about 5:35 a.m. in the morning. Sad prayers to the family and those lost in that. I also saw a vision, if you recall, of a cruise ship smashing into the side of a pier and putting a big hole in the side of it. I said that a while ago, actually. I don't remember when. That could be back in January. I don't remember. Can't remember all the predictions. There's too many. And this just also happened in California, this time in San Francisco. This was on July 9th, this article from ABC News. I hate when that happens. Princess Cruises ship that crashed into the San Francisco pier is now cleared for departure. The Ruby Princess cruise ship was damaged after it crashed into a pier in San Francisco and is expected to set sail, blah, 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 blah. They announced early Sunday morning that repairs on the ship, which started sleeping San Francisco residents, I can read today, The Coast Guard lifted the captain of the port order on 1 a.m. Sunday. The ship is now scheduled to cruise, but I told you about cruise ships. And this isn't in my notes today, but it reminds me of what I said in my predictions not long ago, that I had a vision of a cruise ship. And it reminded me of the one that happened off the coast of Italy, if you remember. The one that flipped over and it was there for a long time, many casualties. I had a vision and a reminder of that, meaning that something similar to that will occur again. Probably why we're still in these summer months and accident-prone energy. But definitely by year end, I would believe. I also saw a vision that reminded me of the duck boat tours in Philadelphia. Y'all remember me talking about that? And if you don't remember what happened in Philadelphia years ago, it's when I lived out that way. The duck boat tours hit another boat or something, and there were fatalities, and it wasn't good. Or they got hit by a boat. One or the other. I think they got hit by the boat, actually. And I had a similar vision not long ago. That something similar would occur, and we would see multiple of these kind of events occurring, including involving a ferry. Well, this just happened a few weeks ago in Miami, which disrupted once again cruise ship departures. Remember, I said there'd be lots of interruptions in travel plans, lots of cancellations, lots of flights that are not allowed to take off and so forth. So Miami cruise arrivals were disrupted after a man dies when a boat hit a ferry near the port. A man perished Sunday, and cruise line arrivals were disrupted after a 30-foot boat hit a ferry near Miami, according to authorities. Another man was also hospitalized in serious condition. The man was pulled out from the water by the ferry workers, and he told them about his missing friend before he was taken to the hospital. The missing man, of course, was found later deceased. It's very sad. Prayers to those families as well. But as I stated in the past, the summer is going to be full of stuff like travel restrictions or travel nightmares, delays, cancellations due to all different types of reasons and causes. That was a short delay, but it still caused a friction and a delay with cruise ships being able to port. So we see this multiple, and then we see the cruise ship, that gashed into the side of the pier and gashed a big hole in it. That affected travel and travelers. So major events, major weather events that are going to force airlines to detour, while we're going to have others that are canceled. This is going to include cancellations due to volcanic eruptions. One, I believe, of these likely eruptions is going to occur in Iceland. Let's move on to food. I love me some food, but not the kind of food I'm talking about today. The last part of this, because since early 2020, I've been warning you all since I think it was before we even went on any lockdown or anything. I've been telling you to start stocking up. In the future, there's going to be major shortages of goods and of food, and things becoming unavailable. And we're certainly seeing that right now. With so many different types of goods, not just foods, and what was I looking for in the grocery store? And every time I go, the shelf's empty. Can't remember what it was. I guess we're not going to see that for a while. But different things like computer chip shortages. Soon there's going to be computer shortages within the next year to 2 years because of many of the parts that they're unable to get, including parts for your vehicle and shortages for that. Shortages for parts when it comes to your heating, your air conditioning, all kinds of stuff. Not to mention many foods, again, that are missing from our grocery store shelves. Spirit, if you recall, warned that peppers and even hot sauce would join the list of shortages, and now it has. It actually has, and the season isn't even over yet, friends. The season isn't even over yet. Where's this article from? Sriracha hot sauce selling for as much as $120 a bottle amid prolonged shortage. I said 140 earlier. My correction. I swore I read 140 somewhere. The prolonged shortage of a certain red sauce is making the black market go wild. Prices of sriracha sauce are as high as $70 on eBay as people look to snap up the spicy sauce. And they're even steeper on Amazon, up to $124. Hugh Fong Foods, which makes the rooster adorned bottled sauce, has been dealing with a years-long shortage of chilies, which is hurting the production and causing some shortages. Some shortages? A search on eBay shows prices of various sized bottles for $40 for a 17 ounce, $70 for a 28 ounce. Prices are even higher on Amazon, which is offering a 2-pack for $124. Of course, it's unclear if anyone is actually paying these prices, considering a 17-ounce bottle typically sells for just $5. Interesting, right? So there you go. I told you all to buy some tequila, stock that up as an investment, like buying some gold or silver. Now you can go look for some hot sauce. Put that on your list. And I wouldn't go and buy it now and sell it. I'd buy it and stash it away for a while, especially as, the season progresses. It's going to be, there's going to be less of it. So it'll be interesting. It's unfortunate. I love me some hot sauce on certain things. I just love spicy food in general, actually. We also know of the coming shortages, again, of tequila due to plants that are not, the plant, what is it called? The agave plants are not blooming due to droughts and other climate-related issues and reasons. In time, Spirit says, we're going to witness government stepping in due to price gouging of customers, just like we saw back in 2020 with things like toilet paper. There was that one story of some guy got arrested for it. I don't know if it's all true, because sometimes they'll say that just to make us believe it so that we don't do it. But Spirit said today that there will be a point in the future where governments step in due to price gouging on certain things or certain products. Now, keep in mind, friends, that the smoke from the wildfires is going to bring about at least a 30% reduction in the fruit and vegetable harvest come this fall season. Really, really important that we understand that, and that if you're in a smoke-filled area especially, you'll see it with your own garden then. We're going to continue to see things like produce skyrocketing in price, along with proteins, beef, chicken, pork, milk, bread, and cheese. Soon we're going to begin to witness shortages in a different type, in different brands of cheese. So you're going to start seeing that. I love my cheese. There's not a day that goes by that I don't eat cheese. I love, especially some sharp, good cheddar. Yum. But anyway, yeah, cheese. Spirit said that certain brands of cheese are going to start to become harder to find, and then soon small cheesemaker companies are going to end up closing their doors. This is mainly overseas. I'm not sure where, but it felt more overseas, closing their doors because of the inability to keep up with demand or whatever. Remember, friends, all of this, unfortunately, is a very sick and very well orchestrated plan that's been in place probably for decades. Hence the billionaires who have been loading up their bunkers with more and more supplies than they'll ever need or use. And if they're doing that, there's a reason why, of course, especially being they've been doing it for the past 2 years that we know of, maybe even prior to that. Maybe that's part of our shortages, is them hogging everything up on us. But they know something we don't. That's why if you missed my video, Billionaire Bunkers and Safe Zones, you gotta watch that, especially if you want to know safe zones when everything shifts on the planet, where the places are to live. The maps, they're all in that video. Make sure you check it out. Governments are going to purposely start starving their own people out as they begin to utilize that as a way of taking control and to act like they're the heroes when they come flying in and saying, oh, we're going to help you, when in reality, they're really the villains. So if you see that in your country where all of a sudden, the government seems to want to take control over the food or over anything, especially your food, government, not a good idea, friends. Not a good idea. Check out my top 10 predictions tomorrow, by the way, because tomorrow in my top 10 predictions, I have more information on these shortages along with my next subject as well, weather. So check it out. That premieres tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, or I think it's 5 p.m. It might be 4:44 p.m. actually, 4:44 p.m. Pacific, which would be 7:44 p.m. Eastern time on here, YouTube, top 10. Make sure you check it out. Now, if you're on my Subscribe Star platform, it's already there for you to see. Just saying. Level 2 and higher, of course. So going back to the whole food, a prediction that I need to put out there is that Spirit shows me that there's going to be a huge rise when it comes to food poisoning. Food poisoning, mainly in fast food chains, is where it's going to be the worst. Fast food chains and restaurants who aren't flipping tables fast enough. So you've got to be very aware of where you're going and where you're eating, is what Spirit says, because it's going to become, we're going to see incidents begin to occur. Some this year, mostly going into next year, like we had in the past with White Castle. Remember how many people passed away because of that? Not only White Castle, Chipotle's. Remember that as well? There you go. So Spirit says that's coming again, unfortunately. So, I don't eat fast food, so I don't worry about it. But I do eat out sometimes. And I only eat at a restaurant. Around here, we're in a tourist area. This time of year, you're good. But you got to watch those places, because basically it's going to be them trying to cut costs or whatever, and that's what's happening. So weather, because I did predict, moving on to the weather, whether you want me to or not, I did predict that there's going to be huge floods in New York. Most of the visions I had were of New York City, but right now in New York, sadly, they are being hit so hard in the upper regions of New York, where some of the roads are becoming rivers, and there's one bridge that was just closed, which could align with another one of my predictions, if you recall. In one of my past predictions, I saw a vision of water pounding against a bridge and a potential the bridge collapsing. But I just said this, I think 2 weeks ago. And I felt that the bridge was going to be closed before it actually collapsed. So therefore, nobody would be on it. So maybe that's it. It might not be. But I saw that today, and I'm like, that could totally align with that prediction. Because that bridge, they just closed it. And I just said this a few weeks ago. So some things happen quick. Some predictions take a while. Some take 2 years. So prayers to our friends up there in New York, but not just New York. Vermont's getting slammed as well. Here's an article from, I don't like this place, MSN. Flooding in Vermont has surpassed levels seen during Hurricane Irene in 2011, officials say. Severe storms sweeping the U.S. Northeast caused catastrophic flooding that officials in Vermont said Monday. I thought it said end. I'm thinking New York, but this is a Vermont article. Same thing though. But they say the levels have surpassed what they experienced from the remains of the deadly 2011 Hurricane Irene, which washed away homes and roads. The big picture Tuesday morning, much of the state capital of Montpelier was inundated after the Winooski River soared above levels seen during the flood associated. Wow, look at that flood waters. Look at that whole little town's underwater. That is sad. Prayers to the people in the Vermont area and the New York area, Orange County, New York to be exact, and Vermont. That's very sad. And this is why I've been telling you all to always have a plan and always be prepared. And you may not think the creek or the lake or the body of water that might not be too far from your home could flood into your home. But if you're near water, let me tell you, I saw flood waters here in the spring that creek that I'm so thankful I'm up a little higher. Because even the creek that runs off the mountain here next to my house it's not even a creek. It's empty all the time. But it was a raging river. I walked through it, but you couldn't walk across it. It was a raging river. Unbelievable. And this is just the beginning of what's coming for Mother Earth's wrath between now and the year 2030. Just saying. Now, New York is not the only one again underwater. Vermont is underwater, experiencing record flooding, and prayers to all of them. There is so much more to come for New York and the entire globe, as we are going to witness some of the worst floods in 100 years or more here in the United States, but also globally. I warn our friends down under in Australia, mate. I warn our friends down under, along with your neighbors in New Zealand, that floods are going to rip through your land and cities before this year comes to a close. Record flooding we can expect to see coming in China, Japan, India, parts of African continent, and the Middle East. In the Middle East, I saw visions of deserts becoming raging rivers. But Spirit reminded me that the Euphrates River will be continuing to dry up in order to meet its obligation of fulfilling the Bible prophecy. And if you missed that, I did a video on that too. That was a good one. I forgot all about that video. That was a while ago. About the demons underneath the Euphrates River. I'll try to make sure I remember to put that link up here after I upload this. I have quite a few videos, and you'll see up at the top of your video little links that pop up every once in a while. Sometimes related to what I say, or just sometimes recommendations of good videos that I've done in the past. So not long ago, I predicted dams being blown. Remember my visions of a dam being blown up and the water gushing through, which unfortunately and sadly we saw over there in Europe with the whole conflict with the UKR and such. And Spirit did tell me not long ago, I think, I don't know if it was July predictions or last month, that there's going to be 4 in all. So there's 3 more to come. I don't know if they're all being blown up. They're all crashing. Remember, too, I also had a vision of water crashing against a dam or a water levee that breaks open. That one actually reminded me, that's in my weather predictions, actually. If you missed my weather prediction video, make sure you check that out. A lot of you, it's actually hurricane and weather predictions. So that it's titled hurricane and weather predictions. And I had that vision, and it reminded me of Katrina, Hurricane Katrina in that vision. And Spirit reminded me of that again today, of water going against the dam and concerns of a dam collapsing. And that's exactly, again, what's happening. Concerns of a dam collapsing. Remember, I talked about dams and infrastructure too, not just all of them being blown up, but mainly infrastructure issues. And that's happening also, sadly, in Vermont right now. As floods drench New York, Vermont, and beyond, an aging dam system faces a critical test. As floods strike northeast, rising water and aging dams could become increasingly dangerous combination. In Vermont, where the biggest floods have been reported, officials are warning of dams nearing capacity. Of the 363 dams in Vermont, more than half of them are classified as high or significant hazards, meaning that if they fail, they're likely to cause deaths, property damage, economic loss, according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and National Inventory of Dams. Thought that was interesting, which again would align to that past prediction. A huge warning was just released, which also makes sense to my weather prediction video. And that huge warning is federal agency issues a weather warning for millions as a state of emergency is declared. And this article just came out today, right? Was it today? Yesterday. At least one death was confirmed after a storm system brought heavy rain and flooding into the northeastern United States on Sunday and now Monday, prompting officials in New York State to declare an emergency. The National Weather Service also listed much of the northern United States under various flood warnings and advisories as the system moves to the east. A woman in her mid-30s passed away after she tried to leave her home with a dog in the Highlands, New York, said the Orange County executive officer. I have announced the state of emergency for Orange County, according to the governor. And I thought this article was about something else, coming heat. But let's look at this map here. A considerable flood threat and a high risk of excessive rainfall was expected across New England in a tweet. Interesting. Well, friends in New England, hold on tight because there's lots more to come. So look, here's a map here. Flood flash warnings and flood advisories affecting New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Interesting. Moving right along. Let's talk about Africa for a minute because this is interesting. Because you remember in my visions in the past, and I think this might have been last year, but I don't remember. It could have been this year. I had visions of Africa and the continent of Africa breaking apart. I need my water. 1 second. Ooh, I had visions of that happening. I love my water. And we just had this information come out. So, is the continent of Africa actually splitting apart as Spirit showed me? The Spirit did show me that last year, it was. And now we have proof that this is exactly the case. Not only that, someone asked, because someone sent me this article and said that, a mushroom shaped super plume of scorching hot rock in Africa, is that the vision I had of a mushroom cloud? And I still say no, that's not the one. That there's more to come. But this just happened. This article just came out. I don't see a date on it. A giant plume of superheated rock is rising up from the Earth's core, could help explain mysterious distortions linked to the giant tear in the planet's surface that appears to be splitting Africa in two, a recent study just found. Across the planet, huge gashes in the Earth's surface, known as the continental rifts, are ripping landmasses apart. The largest active continental rift is in East Africa Rift, a network of valleys that is about 2,175 miles, stretching from the Red Sea to Mozambique. I don't even know what, some part of Africa. So, continuing rifting is driven by the deformation of the lithosphere. Geez, I can't talk today. Planet's outmost rigid layer. So basically, this article is confirming the vision that I had of Africa splitting apart. And this recent article and study found that that's exactly what's happening. So Spirit's right. It is going to happen. Probably much sooner than we would want to see. Moving on to the malaria outbreak. Remember just a few years ago, some less than smart individual decided that he thought it was a great idea to release millions of genetically modified and engineered mosquitoes in the Florida Keys. Remember that? It was a big controversy. I talked about it here on YouTube anyway, before this show existed, the weekly thing. That had to be, I think that was in 2020 that they released them. I think it was 2020. Latest 2021, but it wasn't before 2020. It was definitely after 2020 or later that they released these genetically modified or genetically engineered mosquitoes. And if you followed me long enough, you'll also remember me telling you that there's something dark and sinister behind this whole release of these millions of mosquitoes. Remember, we were all against it. That didn't feel right. We all y'all that watched it back then, we all had bad vibes about it. Thought, no, there's something more sinister to this. Well, malaria cases in Florida and Texas. Here's what you need to know. The 5 cases of malaria, and this article is actually an older one. 2 weeks ago. The 5 cases of malaria diagnosed in Florida and Texas in recent weeks, the first cases of a local transmission in the United States in 20 years, have worried some residents and led the state and federal officials to issue public alerts about the cluster of infections. But scientists and public health officials, while advising people in the affected areas to take precaution, say there is little cause for alarm for several reasons. The number of cases is very low, number one, and there is no number two. There's no number two. It just says very low. And therefore, easy, low-tech steps to help people protect themselves. And chances are any one mosquito transmitting malaria are infestable, whatever that means. Infestable. Never heard that word. I don't think I ever heard that word. You are likely to get struck by lightning, says Philip Stoddart, a professor of biological science at the Florida International University. Well, they'll tell you anything that they're told to tell you. That's what I think. But, well, now, for the first time, again, this outbreak of malaria, Usually we see this in places like Africa or the jungle of South America, down in the jungle, Amazon. That's where we usually see things like this. Not in Florida, but now not just in Florida, Texas as well. 2 states that we know, because Spirit did tell us, remember, they are targeted states, if you know what I mean. Spirit said that both of them were targeted states, which means that we would see lots of, crazy storms slamming into them or whatever else happens. Kind of like freezing out the Texans year and a half ago or 2 years ago, whenever that was. And the storms that are yet to come in my predictions for this year, which I'll tell you more about in a few minutes, because I don't think I went through the weather yet. Or if I did, then it's in my prediction top 10 for tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that one, especially for the vision I have of the big storm that's coming to the east coast of the United States. Information on that's in tomorrow's top 10 video. So going back to Texas and then being targeted states by the evildoers, now this is starting to clearly appear to be the case. And just wait until they crash that huge storm into the state, into probably both states. So how did malaria suddenly begin to pop up in Florida? Not long after they released millions of genetically modified mosquitoes. Well, Spirit showed me today, during the release of those millions of bugs in the Florida Keys, something their governor should have stopped at the time and put a stop to. The governor at the time, because I'm pretty sure it's not the governor that they have now. Spirit showed me that they purposely mixed in a small batch, and small, when you're releasing 20 million, a small batch could be a million. But a small batch of malaria contaminated mosquitoes. Ding, 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 ding. And sadly, Spirit says this is going to spread along the south and the east coast before eventually reaching parts of California and Mexico. Soon there's going to be a push, backed by fear, of course, to get folks another type of inoculation from a soon-to-be-announced new type of better, you know what I'm talking about. When I do this, you know what I'm talking about, the V. That there. Spirit says they're going to come up with a new one. So there must be one that they have already, I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know nothing about that. But Spirit said that's going to be a push. And this could be not necessarily now, this year, of course. I think we're building up to this. And this brings me to the subject of our environment and commercial fishing. Companies like McDonald's, because I have friends in Alaska, and the stories they tell me of what McDonald's gets away with, and the local fishermen ain't allowed to fish, but they're allowed to take whatever they want. Things like that. Not cool. And then they scoop up everything and they throw away everything that isn't the fish they use for your fish sandwiches, which is so sad. That includes dolphins, whales, or whatever else gets caught up in their nets. So why local fishermen are limited to what they can catch. But in depth, sacrificed on the altar of green energy. This article comes from the Epic Times. Commercial fishing industry faces extinction if offshore wind turbine development continues. So whoever's running that Jersey is just, well, they're getting paid, folks. It's all about that. All about that. Advocates warn that what's at stake if developers and their foreign investors succeed in constructing offshore wind turbines along the east coast of the critical food source and a rich cultural heritage preserved among fishermen. Generations of fishermen could be sacrificed on the altar of green energy, says Megan Lapp, who told the Epic Times. Lapp is a representative of the commercial fishing company in North Kingston, Rhode Island, called Seafreeze Ltd. According to Lapp, commercial fishing is the seventh most regulated industry in the nation, more regulated than pharmaceutical industry and oil and gas extraction. That's so not right, man. It's just this world, man. What the heck? WTF. We are not free to go where we want, when we want, and catch what we want, says Lapp. As a result, the ocean is a very small place, which it isn't, right? Like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, next thing you know, you're not going to be able to fish in your rivers. I mean, I wouldn't eat anything out of most rivers anyway, but this is just sad, friends, when it comes to fishing. And we know what's happening with the wind turbines in New Jersey, killing all the whales and dolphins. Not only that, if you go look at all the bald-head eagles that are dying from them, and all the other birds and prey and everything else that are. And they don't even really produce good energy. I mean, they produce some, but not like other things can, like free energy devices that we already know they have. And every time somebody comes in, another inventor comes up with that concept, they disappear like that. Well, remember what Spirit said. They ain't going to hold that back from us much longer. They're not going to be able to hold it back much longer. So speaking of holding back, let's talk about a little bit of celebrities in Madonna. Excuse me, I got a cat hair in my throat. Anyway, well, I sure did warn Madonna, if you recall, that she was going to have a health crisis this year heading her way. And again, too bad that she didn't heed the warning and schedule a session with me. She is beyond lucky. This is beyond lucky, says Spirit, that her master saved her, for he is not ready for her soul yet. That's what Spirit said. I will repeat that. She is beyond lucky that her master saved her, for he is not ready for her soul quite yet, Spirit says, much sooner than she would want to or expect, but it's coming much sooner than she would want or expect, but not yet. Almost, but not yet. She will likely become eventually another sacrifice like Michael Jackson did and many others. I don't know when. I'm not saying that's happening now, but that was my feeling, that she would become one eventually. That they would use her as a big sacrifice. The question is, of course, when. And I would rule out that it could happen this year or by the end of 2024. Here's an article from, again, Epic Times that says Madonna breaks silence after she was taken to the ICU with an infection. Oh, look at that devil-worshipping shirt. Singer and songwriter has issued her first public statement after it was reported that she was hospitalized in an intensive care unit with a bacterial infection. That's some mean stuff right there. 64-year-old performer who was born, we know her name, we don't need that, Ciccone. I said that she's incredibly grateful for all the blessings in her life. Oh, it took you to almost die to finally say that? To finally, actually, I don't even want to read this article. And I don't think you want to hear it either. We know what happened. Moving right along. Because Spirit shows me a vision of, this was really interesting, friends. Really interesting. I saw a vision of a buffet, like a food buffet. And they were serving up karma. I swear you're not. They were serving up karma, and I saw a vision of many celebrities waiting in this karmic buffet line. And in that line, they included Madonna, Alec Baldwin, Lady Gaga. I saw Obama and Michelle, my apologies, at his side with Chelsea Clinton and with her sinister grin. Chelsea Clinton was in this vision with her sinister grin, the one she inherited it from mommy. I saw Steven Spielberg in the line, and I saw Jill Biden. I did not see Joe, which I thought was interesting in this line, so I don't know. Again, it probably aligns with my prediction of like he's going to be out soon. But I don't know where he's at, or at least there were also a lot of other people in this line in my vision that I didn't recognize. When I do recognize them, I'll let you know. But do you know... Oh, got an itch, sorry. So I don't know what to make of this. If you know what to make of this, I mean, other than, Spirit having a good sense of humor and the fact that obviously karma is coming to those in the crowd at this karma buffet. It's kind of funny and creative, actually. So I have many of my celebrity list of potential health issues and even fatalities in tomorrow's top 10 predictions. But a few others that I did not include in tomorrow's top 10, I'm going to include today, and they include Selena Gomez, Wendy Williams, and William Shatner. Captain Kurt, that dude. They popped up in my mind. Not that they're leaving, but very potential major health issues and potential passing, especially William Shatner. Let's move on to Disney and Hollywood. I like William Shatner. I always like that guy. He's probably part of the whole web of darkness, but I still like the guy. Disney and Hollywood. Both Hollywood and Disney Corporation are taking a huge blow at the box office this weekend, if you haven't noticed, as the movie Indiana Jones is completely failing. They haven't even made the money back that it cost them to make it yet. And this is thankfully because Indiana Jones is being put to shame by the movie the entire world, in my opinion, needs to see. The Sound of Freedom, all about Tim Ballard. And that's exposing the world to the $154 billion industry of getting caught in traffic, if you know what I mean. And I predicted that attendance, Disney, I told you that they were going to start falling and more controversy and more and more and more, and there's so much already. I predicted that the attendance at their parks would drop. And here's an article that just showed up as I was sitting down preparing this for you beautiful souls today. And this article popped up, like an hour ago. Disney crowd sizes are shockingly low amid backlash. Disney's Walt Disney World crowd sizes over the July 4th long weekend were shockingly thin, according to the tracking data provider Touring Plans, which predicted that the low attendance trend seems poised to continue amid the ongoing conservative backlash to what some describe as the woke agenda. Disney has been embroiled in legal and political fight with the Florida governor Ron DeSantis, which was triggered by the company's opposition to a bill that bans discussing sexual orientation and identity in kindergarten through third grade. The company has also faced streaming losses in its stock and yada, 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 and you got the point, my friends. There's two articles, actually. Let me bring up this other article. I don't even know what it is because I didn't put a title there. Disney-owned ESPN announces a major shakeup. The ESPN announced Friday, and this was from July 6th, so last week. So they announced on Friday that they will part ways with some of its on-air personalities in a bid to cut costs, with some reports indicating that well-known sports personalities are among those departing the Disney-owned channel. Given the current environmental, ESPN has determined it is necessary to identify some additional cost savings in the area of the public-facing, blah, 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 blah. Yep, it's Disney fallen, friends, Disney fallen. And Spirit and I warned that this time was going to come for Disney and that they were going to pay the karma. They were going to start paying that karma, and, well, we are seeing that now. And we keep seeing this because Disney keeps getting hit one blow after another. And, kudos to the karmic deliverer, the karmic delivery guy or girl. So more huge changes, Spirit showed me, are coming for Disney and for Hollywood. Coming lawsuits and exposure of corruption is going to cause both Hollywood and Disney to begin to lose so much money that they are going to be forced to sell and even close parts of their markets and other businesses due to failure and other issues. I also see some type of huge fire. I had a vision, this was today, of a huge fire breaking out near Disney or in Disney. I don't know if it was a Disney resort or more likely one of their theme parks, Disney World or Disneyland, and more likely both perhaps being hit in some fashion or another. Because I felt almost like, again, a karmic blow to the whole foundation, but certain places too. So both parks being hit some way with karmic. I don't know what the fire is, and hopefully nobody's injured or anything with that, because I wouldn't like to see that at all. But fire, but also a storm, Spirit showed me, that's going to nail Florida and cause major damage to the parks, to parts of the Disneyland, Disney World parks and resorts, delivering a bill to the corporation for over $10 million in damages. So that'll be interesting. So again, that confirms the storm in tomorrow's prediction too. Let's talk about Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Chunky Monkey, baby. Yum, 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 yum. That used to be my favorite ice cream of all until Talenti came along. Oh, I love me some double chocolate Talenti ice cream. Oh, that's just making my mouth just salivate right now. Love ice cream. What would the world be without some ice cream? Well, the people who make one of the best ice creams in the world, Ben and Jerry's, have continued to dig a hole for themselves and for their company. My favorite one is that one of the founders made remarks that we need to give our land, the government needs to give the land back to the native people, which I couldn't agree with more. But the best part of this is one of the native chief members, spoke up and said, then why don't you start by giving us your land? And I thought that was a great point. I don't know about you, but he's going to come out and say, well, the government needs to give them. And the chief's like, well, you could start by giving us your land. How about that? Yeah, that ain't going to happen. So that was kind of funny. They kind of dug their hole for that. But also, this is also followed by even more controversy for one of the founders who was just arrested while protesting for Julian Assange. Good for him, and for those who do stand up for Julian, because he does need people to stand up for him. And here is this one from the Epic Times. Ben and Jerry's co-founder placed under arrest over Assange protest. Ben Cohen, co-founder of the ice cream brand Ben & Jerry's, was arrested last week during a protest in favor of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. During the event in Washington, Cohen sat outside the Department of Justice building along with left-winged Code Pink co-founder Jody Evans. They were both arrested for blocking the entrance to the DOJ building, according to the video footage of the incident. Where's the video? I didn't see no video. I want to see the video. The co-founder of the Vermont, Mr. Assange, is being held at a prison in London as he awaits his extradition to the United States for allegedly violating the Espionage Act. Before that, the WikiLeaks co-founder was essentially detained inside the Ecuadorian embassy in the UK for several years. What was I just going to say about that? I just totally had a brain fart. Oh, there's an Illuminati card. That's what I was going to say. There's actually a Julian Assange Illuminati card. Illuminati cards put out in 1990 and 93. So interesting. And I did make predictions around him in the past, and sadly, I don't know when I'll have to look deeper into his birthday and all that. So let's talk about a little bit of other news today, starting with the UPS and Amazon potential strike. That was in my predictions in the past. The Teamster Union is putting pressure on UPS Amazon with strike threats as deadline nears. So the contracts for 330,000 plus UPS delivery drivers and warehouse logistic workers expire at the end of this month. And the Teamsters are applying pressure on UPS and on Amazon. Workers contracted to deliver goods for Amazon began picketing 2 weeks ago and have, in the past week, coincided with UPS negotiations breaking down, brought these protests to the East Coast to increase their visibility. Interesting, because we talked about that. And I don't know, something big is happening at Amazon as well. So I talked about UPS and strikes in the past, I think even on the last show 2 weeks ago. But Amazon pops up, and I see major issues for Amazon, and even more major issues when people are mad that they're not getting their orders. So I'm going to say that, yeah, likely there's either some kind of walkout or strike happening, and definitely for Amazon in some form or another in the future. Also, what's his name? The Amazon dude, Jeff Bezos, is selling something like $1 billion of his stock consistently. He's been selling out his stocks. So he knows. And he's even been quoted as saying that Amazon's not going to last forever. Something eventually will take it out. There's always something that comes along that takes out the other. So I told you that in other news. Excuse me. So I got a couple other predictions down here at the bottom to leave you with too. I'm almost through here. So I told you that Israel in past predictions was going to make some military moves. Remember, I saw military taking flight and all in Israel. And sadly, they attacked a refugee camp. And this is just the beginning, according to my spirit guides. Remember, they have Iran in their scopes, and they have it in their scopes with the United States secretly backing up the plans that they've already made and continue to make. I don't feel like this is going to occur this year with Iran, but more likely late 2024 into 2025. Did you see that huge dome in Vegas that they just put out there? First of all, I've been to Vegas once. My brother had an Elvis wedding. I was there as the best man and the only man. And let me tell you, that place has got some dark energy. And think about it. If Lucifer lived anywhere or had a house anywhere, it would definitely be in Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, bad vibes. I have no desire to ever go back there. And I know good people there. There's good people there, but there's bad energy there. And I'm too much of an empath to bathe in that energy. No, thank you. I love casinos though, and I love it. And I was there for a very short period. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the things there because I didn't really get to see much when I was there. But that huge dome creeps me the heck out. How about you? Did you see it? Look it up online. It just premiered, I think July 4th, where they lit it up. And the creepiest part is when they lit it up to look like an eyeball looking at you. Symbolic, friends. They lit it up to look like the moon, which really looked cool. I thought that, and they lit it up to look like the earth. But the eyeball thing is creepy. And it's a sign. They did it at their big, opening. They did a whole bunch of different things, changed into a bunch of different things. I thought that was really interesting and really creepy. I remember I made predictions revolved around Vegas not that long ago. Hopefully that don't come true. Did you know sudden death in healthy working aged folks has skyrocketed in the United States during the third and fourth quarter of 2021? It was up 40%, up to 40%. Sudden death in healthy working aged folks. One expert says that a 10% jump in sudden death in healthy working aged folks would actually be a once every 200-year event. But in 2021, it was 40%. Remember, I said that there would be a massive die-off of people's soul contracts all opting out. It's happening. You're just not seeing it or hearing it as much as it's happening. And we see that with this report right here that the sudden death in healthy working age folks is up 40%. That would be some mass die-off, especially if he says 10% would be a 200-year event and it's at 40. Just kind of, I saw that. I thought that was really interesting. I see some kind of issue coming about revolved around the WEF Federation. I don't know what it is. The world, not the WEF. I'm sorry, I didn't mean WEF. I meant the wrestlers. I did put WEF though, but I wasn't thinking WEF. I was thinking WWF. Right? Is that the difference? I forgot. Huge controversy around the world of wrestling and fighting. We'll just say that. Huge controversy and major changes that are going to come in the near future. So think about that. Maybe something bad. I hope not. But usually, what would cause controversy and major changes around fighting and wrestling? It would have to be something bad happening to somebody where the government or somebody puts pressure on them. I mean, that's just a guess. Probably a good guess, but people constantly keep asking me this question, and it's funny because if you watch me, you would have known this answer 6 months ago. Justin Trudeau is going to be investigated, and he's also going to be forced to step down when we get into the year 2024. JB will also be out, just to add that in there, and this is going to be before 2024 even rings in. I believe JB will exit in September or October of this year. I also see a successful impeachment coming, which reminds me of Richard Nixon's impeachment. So, who we know was set up by his own vice president back in that day when that happened. Except this impeachment may actually be revolved around Kamala. Actually, a little interesting fact for you. Please be safe around the beaches, friends. And the beaches, because I see beach closings that are going to be coming soon due to several factors. One, of course, is shark-infested waters and shark attacks, animal attacks that were in my predictions. being the main concern, but also something washing up on one beach that causes concerns as well. So just be aware and be safe. And I also saw a jellyfish infestation happening somewhere. Like people couldn't go in the water. There were jellyfish infestation. A warning to residents and workers and our friends in New York City to take shelter when you are warned to do so. Sorry, I had to fix my mistake there. I also see a huge building on fire, and I think it's New York, but first I got, a huge warning that if they tell you to seek shelters, to do exactly that. And then I saw a vision separately of a huge building on fire, and I saw smoke pouring out of the windows high up, at least 10 stories or higher. I'm not clear, but I do believe that this is in New York, but I'm not sure, but I believe it is. And it appears to be something blowing up that causes this fire. Whether it be gas related, maybe, or something else, I'm not sure. But that was the vision I had. And I'm going to leave you with this final note: what happens upon death? In this new article or this new investigation, surprising things take place to some before dying. Venturing into the brink of death, many people have witnessed extraordinary occurrences. Delving into the enigmatic realm of near-death experiences, a 1991 Gallup poll revealed that a striking 5% of the adult American population encountered this actual phenomenon. Fast forward to 2019, and a study involving over 1,000 participants from 35 different countries found that 10% of them had experienced near-death experience. Dying human brains may undergo a surge of activity linked to the consciousness. Near-death experiences can include out-of-body experiences, encountered deceased loved ones, the Almighty, and other spiritual beings traveling through the tunnel or passage, life review, and the feelings of joy and peace. These experiences are extremely lucid, even realer than real, as some will tell you. And I lost my spot. But a research team analyzed the electro EEGs, basically, of 4 patients dying from cardiac arrest while under the EEG monitoring. After they withdraw the ventilator support, 2 patients exhibited a rise in heart rate accompanied by notable surge in gamma wave activity. Gamma waves, also known as gamma oscillations, are believed to be involved in various cognitive processes and are associated with higher brain functions, including attention, perception, memory, and consciousness. Gamma waves are also used to play a role in coordinating neutral activity and the information. Yeah, this is a really interesting article. I'll leave a link down below because it's really long. It's really long. I didn't realize it was that long until now, but I will put a link in the video for that, or in the chat room. When we're premiering this, I'll put it in the chat room. So, really good one, because I know all too well from the spirits that that's exactly what happens when we die. We go through the tunnels and we have this whole view of our lives. We see all the good and all the bad, the people we hurt and the people we touched, and a balance of the two. It's an amazing, beautiful experience before we get on the bus to go to the heavens. And that happened to my brother. It was a really amazing experience. And my brother don't talk about stuff like that, but when he had a tumor, cancerous tumor behind his heart, and they had to take it out, he was basically clinically dead. And he swears up and down that he was on the Jesus bus. And it was all decorated for Christmas, and it was all white. It's a long, interesting story, and I've been asking him to do a video on it. Let me interview him on it because it's a really wild story. Because, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but long story short, he was in the emergency room and he started telling this woman in the emergency room the story about his Jesus bus and that he died. And, they told him it wasn't his time. And she turned white as a ghost and turned to him and said, "Oh my God, my husband had the same exact experience, except he was on a white boat and he called it the Jesus boat." Same thing, same story. And then 2 people didn't know each other. Same hospital too, which was really weird. So it's real, folks. It's all real. We've done this thing called life so many times, thousands and thousands of times, and not just here on Earth, other places as well. Very interesting. And most interesting was hanging out with all you beautiful souls today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep in mind that next week I will not be around. I will be on vacay. I'm going to Sedona, Arizona, right where I live. But I'm actually going to enjoy it. But actually, we're going other places too. I'm looking forward to it. But I will have something next week that will premiere. Hopefully 2 pieces. One will definitely be on Tuesday as usual. So I'll be here next Tuesday. I won't be, but my content will be here. And I have 2 good pieces that I'm working on. So hopefully if I have the time, I'm going to record a Tuesday show on Saturday before family arrives and I'm done for a week. Hopefully. If not, I will definitely at least have my other video, another one done. I think the one I'm going to attempt to do is my remote viewing of the continent of Antarctica. I'll premiere that next week. But we'll see. But I'll be back again tomorrow, again with top 10 predictions, so check that out. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for the love and support, the chat caches, the PayPal, and everything else, and mainly for being here and being a part of the tribe. Smashing the subscribe, and don't forget to hit that like button. It helps me in the algorithms to help you. Until the next time, remember, friends, to be bold, be true, be kind, be you. Because you friggin' rock like a rock star. You are awesome. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and namaste.